I'm trying to throw 100 miles an hour in 100 weeks. If I do, then I'll make a comeback in professional baseball. If I don't, I retire forever. Day one, let's go. Just a deep stretch in the front of the shin and the quads. And it's just like strengthening as well in the knee. Whoa. The way I like to do lower body stuff is to work from the ground up. And so I go from the toes, the feet, and I gradually work myself up. I go from the toes. We did the front of the shin. I'm gonna do my calves right now. Go into the thighs, the inner thighs, and then hamstrings, glutes, lower back. Table raises. These are low-key really difficult. They burn after like 10, 15. 8. A weird thing about me is like, I really like 2 sets. I don't like doing 3 sets of anything, but I really like doing 2 sets. I don't know if something like psychological in my mind, where it's like, all right, first set, all right, get that out of the way. And then if it's like, all right, I only have 1 more set, then it's like, all right, give it all I've got. But now 3 sets, it's like, just feels like, damn, there's just like a ton to do and I feel fatigued. But if it's 2 sets, I feel like I can go all out for 2 sets, bang, next exercise. So this one I'm gonna try to get to like 20 plus. 2, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20. See, I might go this way for this one. Yeah, that looks better. Just getting some warm-ups in. Big thing is to get a full range of motion. So it's really stretching the calves. So it's increasing range of motion as you strengthen it. 10. Gonna do 2 sets of 8 right here. One, 2, See, that first set was like really hard. But then, because I only had 2 sets, I was like, all right, let's give it all we've got on the second set. And I always hit the target rep range. But if I have 3 sets, I don't know. I just don't like the conventional 3 or more sets. I like to go like super intense for like 2 sets instead of doing a ton of volume. 2, 3, 4, 5. This exercise is so tough because, like the hip flexors isn't something you really work on. My whole baseball career, I never really worked on my hip flexors, and so they're so weak. But that's a problem because it was causing all sorts of problems for my lower back, and I have a messed up back. And the hip flexor, the tightness and the weakness was one of those reasons. And so I'm really trying to place a priority on this exercise. And so I'm going like 5 reps and I'm trying to progressively overload this. I'm trying to get really, really strong in my hip flexors because that was one of my weak links or my deficiencies. Like the hip flexors is something that you don't realize are super weak until you actually train them. And so one of the things that Ben Patrick, knees over toes guy, told me was that if you're not able to hold your legs up straight, I'll show you in a second how to do this, for like at least 30 seconds, then your hip flexors are probably weak. And so I was like, I should be able to do that. Lasted like 10 seconds. But it's just right here. Straight legs. I'm tight as balls right now, so I don't know if I want to do that right now, but straight and hold. Even 5 seconds is tough right now. I might redo it when I'm a little bit more loose in my hamstrings and my back, just because it's so tight it's hard to hold it, but I'll probably do this again at the end of the seated calf raise. Poliquin step ups with a makeshift slant. Oh. The reason I love these so much is that it trains the VMO muscle right here, which is the most fast twitch muscle fiber in the thighs. And this is what transforms some players from being a guy who can't even touch a rim to who can just absolutely dunk. And so, baseball is definitely different to basketball, but we still want to be super powerful in our legs. And so this is something that I've been incorporating and experimenting with, and so far it's been pretty good. this is how I train. I do a lot of ATG, knees over toes guy style of training. And this is something that I'm experimenting with to see if it actually lead to performance enhancement as a baseball player. I started doing it because my back was messed up. And I was looking for everything and anything that could help me. And once I started doing his stuff, my back just started opening up. It felt way better. It felt better than it had for 3 to 4 years. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. As my back started feeling better, it gave me confidence that I might be able to go play and I might be able to regain some of my past performance and get up into the 95 plus range, hopefully 100 miles an hour. And so this is an experiment that I'm doing as for myself. Would I recommend it? Yeah, like a lot of the movements would definitely benefit a lot of baseball players, but I can't say for sure right now since I haven't been doing it long enough to see a performance enhancement. And so, but this is why we're here. This is why I'm doing it. Main exercise of the day. And I say main exercise, but it's still pretty light. And so, but yeah, front squats. Heels, elevated front squats. And I elevate my front squats because it places less stress on my back. And it keeps my back straighter for longer. I don't want to ever put my back through like a butt wink position at the very bottom because I am trying to go to a full range of motion. And so I'm just trying to rebuild these very slowly. I remember at my peak, I'd be able to do full plates, front squats. But now I'm working myself up to, today I'm doing 5 ramping sets. So each set, I'm going 5 reps and then gradually increase the load. And I think I'm going to work up to 195, 200. And so definitely a lot lighter, but it's something where I'm trying to rebuild and get my body a little bit more comfortable with weights on my shoulder. Another thing that I'm trying to work on with this front squat is that, I found myself like really strong in positions where I wouldn't squat below parallel. And so if I was right here, you can't really see it, but if I had squatted to parallel, I was super strong. But if I went deeper than that, then I was really weak. And so that's something that's a weak point for me. It's a weak link. And I want to be as well-rounded of an athlete and as strong as possible in, all different ranges and deep positions. And so that's another thing that I'm trying to work on. But, when you're going through full range of motion, heels elevated, it's tough and progress comes slow. But I've got time and I don't want to rush it for my back, just to rebuild my body. See, this is what I mean. 185 right there. Humbly. That should be super duper easy. I'm struggling to get 5 reps. Alright, I got one more set to go. I think I'm gonna add about 10 pounds on each side. So 205. Let's go. For my main exercise for the hamstrings and the back of the lower body is Nordic curls. And so that's what we're gonna do right now. You know, deadlifts, I still haven't really done too much of them. I have been dabbling in a couple Romanian deadlifts, but it does put a lot of strain on my back, and I definitely feel it the next day. And so for now, I'm doing Nordic curls as my primary exercise for the back of the lower legs. Let's go. Three sets of 3 full reps. I'm not too worried about the eccentric portion of the lift. When I did these in the past, it was more of a focus on the eccentric portion, but I'm actually focusing more on the concentric motion. I want to be able to explode up with my hamstrings, because that's what leads to the increased sprint times, jump heights. And so my main focus with this is concentrically explode up, and I'm fighting the eccentric, but I don't want to do it too much to where it affects my strength and it fatigues me for the concentric portion of the lift. So here we go. Set number 2. Let's get 3 reps again. Let's go. That last one was a grind. But we've got 3 sets of 3. I'm gonna do one more set of these. It's gonna be an eccentric overload. So I'm gonna grab some weights and really fight the eccentric portion of the lift. With the concentric Nordics, all I'm focusing on is going from relaxed hamstring and just contract it as fast as possible and try to throw myself up. And so I'm just trying to develop the power in my hamstrings. From what I understand, the concentric motion is best for increased sprint speed, jump height, increased performance overall. And the eccentric portion, when you focus on that, it's more for the health aspect of things. It's to protect your knees, it's to protect your hamstrings from injury. And so I want to do both. And so I'm going to finish this off with an eccentric overload Nordic curl. All right, it's my favorite part of the lower body workout. It's hamstring and lower back and glute stretch strength. You know, my posterior chain gets so tight, and so that leads to all sorts of problems. But when I train stretch strength, it just opens up the whole backside. And so that's what I'm going to be working on. I dabbled in some barbell Romanian deadlifts. But what I found was that I think I have limited internal range of motion in my right hip, which is causing some kind of pain. And so I really want to address that. And so I'm starting with single leg Romanian deadlifts with a focus on internal rotation. And I'll show you how I'm trying to focus on that. Let's get it. Range is limited, so I can only go to there, and that's it. It's full range. Starting to open up a little bit. But yeah, because of the limited range of motion on my right side, I think what was happening during my RDLs was that there was some kind of overcompensation in my lower back or something that was causing that pain to happen. And so I'm just gonna hammer these out for a couple weeks, really see if I can improve the mobility on my right side. And then I can go back to the barbell Romanian deadlifts. When you go to full range with these exercises, they'll put your muscles through a full range of motion. It just pulls you into deeper positions that you wouldn't be able to access without the weights. So if I were to do an RDL like this, it's much, much less intense than if I had weights in my hand actually pulling me down and pulling me into these deeper positions. And this is something that's really helped open up the backside of my body. You know, after surgery, it was just wound up. It was super tight. But doing this type of training just opens it up. And so I don't really stretch that much anymore. You know, I'll do like mobility stuff throughout the day. But most of where I get my mobility and how I regained it is through this stretch strength type training. And it's awesome because it trains flexibility and strength at the same time. And so I'm a huge fan. All right, now I'm gonna be going into my favorite 2 exercises and the whole world right now because it makes my back feel amazing. And so we're gonna do Jefferson curls and elephant walks. And so this is more of a mobility thing, but for someone like me who has very, very limited back flexion and the ability to go forward, this is what's training it. I remember when I had, even 6 months ago, when I had straight legs, I couldn't touch my knees. I was here, and then I couldn't even touch my knees with straight legs. It was crazy. I was like this. Like my back was so locked up, and so This is what I'm training. And these two exercises are the ones that single-handedly help me regain my mobility in my spine. And so let's get into it. One of the things that I work on a lot during my lower body days is my back flexion and my ability to go forward with my spine. As a thrower, the ability to go backwards is extremely important, probably more important than your ability to go forward. But that's something that I work on my upper body days. And so I have limited range of motion in both back and forward. So that's a big priority for me right now. Mobility is right up there, and spine mobility is at the very top of my list. And so that's why I place so much of an importance with this. Sometimes I incorporate single leg pikes. I think that's what it's called. For the hamstrings, if I ever feel like my hamstrings are a little bit tight on the day, then I'll do like 10 to 20 reps of these each side. we're doing Cossack squats and split pancakes to open up the inner thighs. Finish up with some back extensions, QL extensions, and then we're done for the day.